Welcome to the Samurai Way podcast, where ancient wisdom fuels modern success. And I'm your host, Lori Sagawa, and this is your space to sharpen your mindset, strengthen your discipline, and live with purpose. Inspired by the Kodo Bushido and my book, Let the Samurai Be Your Guide, each episode brings you powerful conversations and practical insights you can apply right away in your work, your relationships, and your daily life. This is about showing up with clarity, making decisions with courage, and building a life rooted in integrity. Because in a world full of noise and distraction, the Samurai Way cuts through, helping you focus on what truly matters. And if you're ready to lead with intention and take your next step forward, you're in the right space. So follow, share, and leave a review to help spread the message. Now, let's step onto that path, the Samurai Way. Konnichiwa, minasan. I am Lori Sagawa, and thank you so much for being here to the Samurai Way podcast. And each week I bring somebody very unusual, and today you will enjoy my guest, Mayumi Kojima. Mayumi is a certified naturopath and a holistic practitioner based in Australia, supporting individuals through midlife transitions with a focus on emotional well-being and cultural connections and purposeful living. Her work integrates natural health with Japanese philosophies such as Ikigai, along with the practices of tea ceremony, aikido, and mindful cooking. I can't wait to hear about this. Through these approaches, she helps people reconnect with themselves, navigate challenges and change, and cultivate a life worth living with balance, meaning, and joy. So please help me welcome Mayumi Kojima. Welcome to the Samurai Way podcast, Mayumi.
Thank you so much, Lauren-san, for this wonderful invitation. I was so excited to hear from you.
We are excited to hear from you. And I just read about your professional background, but if you would like to share a little bit about how you got here to Australia, you're from Japan, and where you lived, and anything else you'd like to.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lauren-san. So I've been in Australia for about 26 years. So I landed in Australia when I was about 24. I'm 50 years old now, so I'm middle of the midlife.
Oh, wow.
And as a working holiday, and the reason for I chose Cairns was only 7 hours flight from Japan. So I didn't need to feel homesick. If I had to go home, I jump on the plane and go home. But guess what? I've been here already 26 years. I love the weather. It's hot in summer, lay back, and it's very different to Japan. Where I come from is called Tochigi. So between Tokyo and Fukushima, where tsunami happened about 15 years ago. One of the beautiful place called Nikko. We have a lake in the top of the mountain. It's called Chuzenjiko, and also have a oldest temple. It's called Toshogu. So I'm after 40 years old. For some reason, I've become really cultural and really start appreciating my cultural aspect. Start doing like a tea ceremony, aikido, and the Japanese cooking and things like that. But how I go here as a naturopath? I was very depressed when I was working as a reservation clerk for Great Barrier Reef Cruise Company. But 10 years ago, 10, maybe 12 years ago, I was very unhappy. Also middle of going through the unhappy marriage and wasn't really happy place. And I pick up the local magazine and looking for the student for naturopathy. And I thought, this is it. I have to do this. And just some calling. And I studied for about 3.5 years after that. And I became a certified naturopath. And as I said before, I became 50 years old about a few months ago. Half century, is it? And and I'm so passionate to go support and navigate women in midlife like myself, because it's a lot going on there. It's like a physically changing and emotionally up and down, also mental being as well. So here I am. I'm passionate to support women in the midlife as a naturopath and also the women going through the stage.
Oh, that's beautiful, Mayumi-san. I love that, your journey and how you came from Japan and how you are now in Australia, in a different place in Australia. When people think of Australia, they think of the big cities, but where you live is more out in the country. And how are you liking that?
Well, the place called Cairns. So it's a east coast up in the north. We call it Far North Queensland. So very hot. We don't really have a distinctive fall season like yourself, Laurie-san. I would imagine you have a beautiful fall season. We have a very short spring and winter, and summer is very humid and hot. We do have an occasional cyclone. You probably call typhoon or hurricane
Probably
in the
more
US?
hurricane.
Hurricane, okay. So we do have a cyclone potentially, but we actually beat the cyclone for a number of years. We've been lucky. Um, but we have a beautiful rainforest and Great Barrier Reef. So I think I feel very privileged to enjoy both from the water and the bush.
Yeah, that's true. And one thing that we connected through was because of Ikigai and Nick Kemp's Ikigai tribe. And you you shared about how Ikigai kind of supports you and guides you through the different things that you do, which we'll cover in the next session. But this is about women's health and how you help them. And if you'd like to share a little bit more about that, you can do that. I
Yeah,
went to your
sure.
website and I see where a person can do it and they can do it virtually. So,
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate that, Laurie-san. I appreciate your, prep before we meet each other today. Respect that very much. So, if that's okay to start with how I actually reconnect Ikigai word, if that's okay with you. That was
oh,
actually
sure.
just before COVID. That was 2019 at the airport, Kansas airport. We at the kiosk, one of the shops and sell everything like books and snack bars and all that. And we were very excited to fly to New York. Like I was telling you earlier, that was my partner's oldest brother's 50th birthday. And he picked up the Ikigai book. It was Hector Garcia, one of the popular,
Mhm.
based on the Venn diagram. And I thought you might like this, sweetie, because you start talking about, mention about Ikigai through tea ceremony, because I started practicing tea ceremony prior to that. And I thought, yeah, sure. And I quite like the book because it really resonated to my naturopathy. And from then, after I finished the book, I started exploring my Ikigai through naturopathy. And that was about 6 years ago. And so going through the perimenopause to now 50 years old and menopause, of course. And it's sort of gradual physical change, emotional, mental change. Along the journey, I happened to meet Nick Kemp, like yourself, and he introduced another resources. One of the book is Ikigai ni tsuite. He talks about a lot earlier work of Nick from the Ikigai tribe, which
Mhm.
actually I bought it from Japan, Ikigai ni tsuite, on the meaning of Ikigai. And I started immersing myself with going through my menopause, and menopause is really significant. It's not just, first progesterone drop when you're going through the perimenopause. And especially perimenopause is a hard one because while the progesterone drops dramatically, some people estrogen floating went down like this quite high. That creates a physical like irritableness, stress. If it's somebody stressed, the high cortisol, it's not really good space. And those kind of women, they usually have a responsibility. Maybe women in business, who kids, teenagers, list goes on. And I could observe that myself, even though I don't have human kids. I have animal kids. And then, like the food that I used to eat was okay. Like, oh my god, I'm not reacting to this anymore, or I've become sensitive to coffee. Like I used to be okay, or my sleep changes and anxiety increase. And I thought, what's going on? And to be honest with you, I have a strong burnout, like last 18 months. And I've been a sole trading business, like a small business owner for 5.5 years, and just tell the truth, I just got burnt out for the last 18 months. It's like maybe a little bit of depression. I didn't take any medication, but I was kind of a little slight dark place. And this actually, the Dr. Kamiya Mieko's book helps me to, how do I say this? Instead of like come up from the dark place quickly, she teaches me to stay in it, observe my emotions. It's okay to be in a little bit of dark space for a little bit. Almost like a tapping shoulder. You'll be all right, mate. You come out this. And yes, Ikigai, it's kind of up and down through like a menopause. Feel the joy, small things like walking with my puppy and find a small joy, seeing his smiling is give me joy. And the other side of the scale was like in the kitchen and thinking about the day, oh my God, what I'm doing here. So if I answer your question, hopefully I'm answering it. It's observing yourself and stop and pause.
Yes, that's
No
good.
not necessary come out and then resolve it. Let's move on. I just don't think it's like that in this stage.
Or actually any stage. I mean, nothing happens overnight. And
Yes.
you think about how a baby learns how to walk. He doesn't one day go from crawling to running. There's many steps, learning how to sit up and then stand up and then try to walk and fall. And if you would, people have asked me about that book that you're reading, but it's not in English. And if you could give a short overview of that book, and hopefully someday it will be available for English, people that speak English and can't read it like you can.
Yeah, sure. It definitely completely changed the perspective of Ikigai. And that was actually the Nick Kemp was the introduced me to this book. So I'm grateful. He introduced me to that. And like I said a bit earlier, Ikigai can define a different way. And, the current Western version of Ikigai is, the Venn diagram, like what you love, what the world needs, what you're good at, what you can pay for. It's completely out of this from this book. It's more like what's actually the heart, sing. But what's actually drive you and what makes you feel alive, it could be the coming from the pain. It doesn't have to be always the joy. She talks about she observed the, people with the leprosy illness. And one of the profound moments when I was reading the book, and she was able to observe that actually the patient with the leprosy, the no more severe they were able to find a small joy in their life. And that kind of touched me strongly, to be honest. And I sort of resonate myself as a menopausal woman, up and down. Like some poverty women feel like are losing identity, like are losing, finishing a menstruations. I know that some women feel more like a woman having a regular menstruation. I hope that's okay to talk about this. I talk about this kind of thing as a naturopath, sorry.
You are a
But
naturopath.
yeah. And all those kind of physical change could be potentially giving them a sense of loss. But I think it's important to feel that even though tough, but there is always hope from it. There is a moving point, turning point from it. I think that's the biggest learning from this book.
So it sounds like it differed from other books that you read about Ikigai.
Yes, very different.
Very
Yes.
different. And Nick introduced me to her, and I loved her teaching. I just thought, wow, that'll be a great day when her work is translated.
I think so. I think it should be translated in English or different language. It's give us so many different perspectives. I think she put a lot of effort and she put a lot of references. It was, to be honest with you, Lorison, was hard to read, believe it or not, even written in Japanese.
Oh, was it philosophically
Yes,
okay?
because she referred to lots of different philosophy concept. She even talks about religional perspective and psychology perspective, psychiatrist, because she was psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things like I never heard of this person before.
She was amazing, and I love her title. She's been called the mother of Ikigai, so we need to know about her.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Someday we will.
Yeah, thank you for letting me talk about her. Yes.
Yes, I'm glad I did because people have asked me. I go, I don't think it's available to people in English, but little excerpts here and there are, and someday we'll learn more. But in the meantime, I want to go down the path that the Japanese intended for Ikigai, just like
Yeah.
Bushido and Gambaru, all of those Kaizen. I want to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. It's I think the Japanese cultural the word that you mentioned it is very deep. You can talk about for days. Even
Mm-hmm.
Bushido, for example. It's not just a word. It's got the
Yeah.
meaning and the spirits in it.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that Bushido is what shaped the nation of Japan to be,
Mm.
because if you think about it, they're very trustworthy, they're honest, they don't respectful, they're just, everything. Well, that's how the samurai were. And if they weren't, that would be their life, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think you're right. I agree with you. Yes.
So that's why I love Japan, and I am Japanese, but I'm American Japanese. My grandparents are all from Japan, but I only knew my maternal grandmother. But she influenced me. I was 6 when she passed away, but I've always really appreciated my Japanese. No, as an adult, I started appreciating my Japanese heritage more. I didn't as a child because we grew up after the war, in the 60s, the baby boomers, and that was not a time to be Japanese. So, but now I love it, and anytime I can go, I go.
Yeah, I'm so glad you did, Lori-san. I think it's really important to back to your root. And
Yes.
I think it was good that you actually tapped into your root when you were adult. You gain more appreciation. Exactly as my experience, like a tea ceremony aikido after 40 years old. So about 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, we could talk about this forever, but I love the Japanese culture, and I tell people that I feel so happy and healthy and safe, and I can trust the food. I think that they put a lot of integrity into what they put in their food. They won't import some of American food. That gives you an
That's
idea.
awesome.
Yeah. So it's just I love it, and the food. I think the food is really good. I think they just put so much intention and thought into how they serve it and what they serve. And I spoke about in one podcast, everything is very seasonal. Like you wouldn't do spring
Yes.
plates in the winter. That would be no. You wouldn't do autumn and fall. I mean, autumn in say spring, or autumn in winter, autumn and summer. It just wouldn't be. So a well appointed kitchen would have all these different sets of dishes, which I just have blue and white because
Yeah, it's very true. And if that's okay to share with you, I started doing Japanese traditional cooking learning through
oh,
my
love
tea
to hear about
master.
that.
Yeah. So my tea ceremony sensei, she actually goes back to Japan a few times a year. And great thing about this teacher, my sensei, she learned from her master in Japan, and she actually bring it back to us, the student in Australia. And so I was fortunate to learn kaiseki ryori.
Oh.
So exactly what you were saying before is seasonal. Respect the material ingredients and also the match to the theme of tea ceremony. And I really think, yeah, we move on to the next podcast, talk about this in a little more detail. I'm so grateful for the learnings.
Oh, that's great. And it's great that you have also too gone back to your Japanese roots, continue to go back to your Japanese roots. Do you find much of a Japanese community in Australia?
Yes, we have a great community in
Oh.
Cairns. Yes, we don't have a huge community, but we do, and we do some event. Some of the events are great cause, like raising of funds for the Fukushima tsunami about 15 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. We've covered so much, and you're the first naturopath I've had on the podcast. I'm so glad, so honored, and glad that I've met you. And we've covered so many things, and you're going to want to contact Mayumi, because what you will do see is that you can work with her virtually, and we'll have that down in the down in the description for people that are interested. But I just want to, you never know what you're going to learn here, because the Japanese philosophies, it's a different way of life, I think. And I just would like to share it with other people, especially people in the West that don't know much about it, and why Japanese people do what they do. Like they take their shoes off. Well, the reason they do is they don't want a dirty home, right? And they do so
Yes.
many things that are thoughtful, and um, I just love it. We've covered a lot. We've covered about women's health, and I think that's good, because March, well, we're just into April now. March was Women's Month, but it could go on forever. It's for everyone, for all times. And so I just want to thank every one of you for being here. Thank you, Mayumi-san, for being here. I really appreciate I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your wisdom. And we're going to continue this conversation in the next podcast, and you won't want to miss that one either. So for now, I want to say mata ne. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. So please like, subscribe, and also share it with others, because we want to spread the word about there's a better way. It's not, Japanese may not be the best way, but it's a different way that everyone could benefit from, is listening or learning about a different way of life. And at first you might think it's different or weird, but there's a reason behind it, and it makes a lot of sense. So thank you so much for being here. And also too, I wanted to give a little plug. I'm going to be writing my next book. My first book was about the Kodo Bushido, and that's doing well. It's written in English, German, and Arabic. The next one is going to be about Gambaru. So I'm going to be starting that, and you'll be hearing more about that. And the other thing you'll hear about is my tour to Japan. So please stay tuned and listen to that, and follow me especially on LinkedIn. We're doing quite a bit of work there. So I want to thank you all for being here and being great guests, listening. Please subscribe, like, share it, especially share with others. So that's it for now, and we'll see you on the next episode. Mata ne. Bye-bye. Thank you, domo arigato, for listening to the Samurai Way podcast. Now it's your turn. Take what you learned today and put it into practice, because knowledge has no power unless it's applied. So if this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who would benefit from it. And be sure to follow, like, and leave a review. It helps us reach more people walking this path. Until then, next time, stay disciplined, stay focused, and continue living the samurai way.